Welcome to another episode. I could never be here on the Popcorn Talk Network. I really thought about opening this show with some Christmas music, but true story, this past week I was listening to Christmas music in my car, and I've been really busy the last several weeks. And I actually had to shut it off because Christmas music really made me not want to do work, which is not a bad thing because we're in the mood for Christmas music. It's fantastic, but I actually had to shut it off because I thought, man, this makes me just want to sit inside by a fire watching a movie, and I was like, nope, I gotta be focused. I gotta finish off the year strong, and I hope that's what you guys are doing as well. Definitely take some time to relax. Take some time to maybe watch a movie, sit by a fire, listen to some Christmas music, but we're not done with this year yet, and that leads me to my advice for a better life, talking about 2019, which is crazy that it's just a matter of weeks away. And the best way to make 2019 the best year of your life, starting right now, starting today, start making those plans, start making the preparations. What do you want to accomplish? Maybe say, here's a couple goals, because that way on January 1st, when the new year actually does come, you're not stuck inside making the plans. You're actually outside hitting the ground running, getting ahead of everyone else. And that is how you will make 2019 the best year of your life. 2019 going to be a big year for our guest today. 2018 has been a fantastic year. 2017 was a fantastic year. He is an incredible actor with an incredible resume. He currently stars on SyFy's Van Helsing. You also see him on CW's Arrow. In 2017, he played Winter in War for the Planet of the Apes. And next year, his docket is very much full, starring in TNT's Snowpiercer, the TV series based on the movie, as well as starring opposite of some big stars in Cold Pursuit. Liam Neeson, one of those people. Certainly a lot on his docket. Please welcome Aleks Paunovic. Aleks, thank you so much for joining us.
Dude, thank you so much for having me. I love everything that you guys were just saying in the beginning. Getting 2019 started, man.
That's it.
I'm digging it. I'm digging it.
Well, especially for you as an actor. I mean, you're working on projects for 2019, what, 6 months ago, 9 months ago?
Yeah, around 6 months ago.
Wow. Is that crazy to sometimes think how long projects are in development and until they come out?
I mean, yeah, it varies absolutely, but I mean, yeah, it takes a while, and there's times where I went, oh, I totally forgot I shot that, and then it comes out. So I feel like I get two Christmas presents when I get the gig and I'm working on it. That's one present, and then all of a sudden, 6 to 7 months later, it airs again, and I get to remember the great times that I had on the show. So I love that aspect of it.
That's an awesome way to look at it. I know right now you're certainly knee deep in Van Helsing, which I'm assuming, is that what you're shooting right now? I think you're up in Canada right now.
Yeah, we're actually waiting on our season 4 pickup. We're all pretty confident and excited about it. We're hoping we get our season 4 pickup, and season 3 has been airing on SyFy. I think we have 3 more episodes left. The ratings have been great. People have been loving it. The fans have been absolutely amazing. I'm really fortunate to be in a position where the fans are so active on Twitter, and the casting crew, especially the crew who work so hard on the show, and the cast, we've all become really great friends. Even when we're not shooting. So it's one of those things where it's a rarity to be that involved in a show. And I love working on Van Helsing so much, and see the fans really kind of take to it has been just a blessing.
Oh, of course. Yeah. The fans are so dedicated, like you're saying. I mean, on social media, watching the show, tweeting, Instagram, all that kind of stuff, which is incredible. I'm sure you love to hear that. And certainly they want, they want season 4 as much as you guys do. What is the mood around people in the set? Is that something that's talked about, of thinking that you're going to get it? Have you heard anything either way?
No, we haven't heard anything, but the cool thing about it is that you treat every day while you're shooting as if it is your last time you're going around. So we really kind of take that into effect of just treasuring the moments that we have on there, because we don't know if we're going to get picked up or not, like a lot of shows, and for various reasons. So it doesn't necessarily have to be something about ratings. It just could be something where, somebody new might be hired at the network and they want to freshen things up in their eyes a bit. So sure. I just look at it as a blessing that I get to be on that day and work on another season 3. And then when season 3 is done, you just kind of go, I'd be okay if it ended, because I captured and was present in all those moments. But my God, do I want a season 4?
your character this season, you've kind of gone back to being the bad guy again a little bit. Do you like that? Are you switching off? Do you like playing the bad guy or like the lovable guy? Which one?
Well, I don't think Julius's character has gone to the bad side. I think he's still fighting for the cause of the humans ever since he got switched over to be a human. So the last couple of years, he's been on the human side and not been the bad guy.
Maybe that's what I had switched around. Was that you were the bad guy, now you're playing the likable guy.
Right, yeah. I started out season 1 as Vampire Julius, which was very much a hunger for power and thirst for blood. Pretty like one-dimensional in the way of I really wanted to focus on not a lot of emotion, but a lot of forward driving of getting what he wants. And he'll do whatever he can to get it. The human Julius, who I've been really having a great time playing, remembers everything that he did as a vampire. So he has this Catholic guilt in him, and he just wants to make it right. And he doesn't care if his life gets sacrificed for it. He's going out on his shield and doing something good. And that's the way he would want to go out. So him, really kind of making it better for everybody, making it easier for everybody. I love that aspect of the character and showing his growth and wanting to right his wrongs.
If you could see one thing for Julius in season 4, if you could maybe make a little make a subplot or see your character do something, what would that be in season 4?
They got me doing so many great things in these last few years. It's been great. And the writers have surprised me all the time. So I don't know, man. Like, this year they gave me a love interest, and she didn't last too long. So I kind of want maybe another one. It was like, oh, we're kissing. Oh, she bit. Now she's gone. What the? But something definitely, stretching my acting ability and making this character that much more diverse. So, I had this beautiful emotional moments with my mother and the love interest and playing the hero and playing the victim, and they've just done such a wonderful job with me on this show. So anything that I write, I'm stoked about.
Yeah, and you seem like the guy too who's like, again, you feel blessed every time that you're on set. So there's no complaints of you're like, this is great. I enjoy doing what I'm doing. I enjoy the challenge of whatever the writers have.
Yeah, I love all of that. I love getting on the set and being thrown a curveball by, we got 5 new pages that we just wrote. So here you go, learn the lines. I love all of that. I think the testament is it starts from the head down. So, the creators and writers, Simon Barry in the first season, Neil Butte, Jonathan Walker, Jackie May, Matt Venables, Jeremy Smith, all those people that wrote the show and produce and executive produce it, and to Kelly Overton, who plays Vanessa, being a great lead. It all showers down with how great they are. So it's just a joy to work and be on set and create some stuff that people really dig. Like last year when we did Comic-Con, the fans were just amazing coming out and staying outside of the hotel room, staying outside the panel at Comic-Con just to get a glimpse and, sign a shirt, sign a poster. And we don't get to see that when we're working. All we see is each other and trying to create the thing that we want. And when it actually rests and touches somebody in a certain way, how they love going along the ride with us when they watch it, that again is one of those, sugar on top kind of perks that we get to meet the fans that actually love the show.
Yeah, and again, those connections feed you when you are on set. Then it's a cycle of you're doing this, and then you get that fan input, and then that just drives you even more anytime that you're on set.
It's bang on. That's bang on. And then last year, a really good friend of mine, Adam Beach, who I've worked with before, he had he's Indigenous, and he had a friend that he was trying to mentor, and he lived in Vancouver. And I had the opportunity, because he was an actor, he wanted to be an aspiring actor. I had the opportunity, because of how everyone's so great on set, to invite him on set so he can actually see how it's getting made. And, his eyes were super big. His dad was really thankful.
Oh, wow.
Those are the moments that I really love that I can give back to because I get what they mean. Like I'm still a big kid at heart, so I know what those type of things mean. And being a part of Van Helsing and how great everyone is gives me the opportunity to share that.
And again, that's what, that's for people who love acting, that's what they love to do. They love to create. They love to be able to put those expressions on people's faces, and you do an incredible job. 2019 is going to be a cold year with Snowpiercer and with Cold Pursuit, both very cold climate productions. Is there anything you can tell us about those, or what are you looking forward to with those coming out? I know, like you said, that film, 6 months ago at this point, some of those.
Right. And I love, you're the first one that made that correlation. That's great. I didn't even realize it. That's awesome. I'm just excited for them to come out. Like, I remember when I read the script, the pilot for Snowpiercer and the script for Cold Pursuit, I got really excited just that I have a chance to be on, a couple great projects. So I'm stoked to be a part of it.
Now, with Snowpiercer, that's based off the 2013 film with Chris Evans. Did you see that? Did you watch that when you got the script to just kind of reflect, or how much is that going to be going along with what the movie was about?
Well, it's interesting because I remember getting the audition, and I was like, oh, I think I saw this on Netflix, like scrolling by. So I watched it. I just wanted to get a taste of it, just so I can know the tone of it before I actually went into the audition. I watched the whole movie. I was enthralled with it. I thought it was great. And sometimes I don't like doing that because it makes me a little bit more nervous when I go into the room. I like just kind of like being enthralled with it, what's on the page. But I got excited about it. I think the people behind it are fantastic. And then when they wanted me a part of the project, I was quite stoked. And it is, I don't want to give a lot away, but it's basically the same idea with different classes on the train and how cold, it is outside, and everyone that's, alive on Earth is on that train. So the scripts have been fantastic. I can't wait for everyone to see it. When TNT to step up and want to do this show, it's great. I'm stoked.
And now is there planning? I mean, it's weird sometimes of like a movie you think is like 3 hours, and then you're obviously expanding that for a TV show, and especially if you're going multiple seasons, that like you're really getting in depth, I think, in some of the characters.
Absolutely, and it's an ensemble. It's a massive cast that we have, so you're going to have a lot of great characters that you're going to be able to follow, popping in and out of different episodes. So I just think they did a great job of making it extremely interesting as a series.
Now, your characters, I'm assuming in that, certainly in the Planet of the Apes and in Van Helsing and a lot of the other projects. I mean, you're a big guy. You're 6'5", right?
Big dude.
I wish you almost on. I'm also 6'5", and I rarely get a guest who's like just as big as me. And so I wish you were here. It would have been great. But obviously, I know you're working a lot there. And
you're 6. Whoa! Back it up, because we can't just brush over 6'5" here. It's very rare where we get kind of like know each other at 6'5". That's a big boy club.
Oh,
I have a lot of buddies that are big dudes. Like, we just kind of gravitate toward each other. So next time I'm in Los Angeles, I'm definitely coming in. We're gonna bro out.
Oh, 100%. What's your shoe size? There's the next question.
15.
15? Wow, I'm like a 13, 14. So like, wow, that's 15. That gets hard to find sometimes.
Oh yeah. Online shopping is the thing for me. Or I go into a store with like a massive shoe store, and I just go, just give me whatever you have in 15, and like 3 pair come out. Like
you're like, I'll take all 3. Just they look good.
Yeah, exactly.
I always go to like the Nike outlets. The Nike outlets always have like the like big player shoes and stuff like that. So you get you get 6 pairs instead of 3.
Right.
Doubled it up for you. And it seems this is again your rugged character. I think how much do you use your past, because you were a boxer growing up, correct? How much do you use that currently in that whole fitness regime in your roles?
I try to use it all the time. I mean, in Van Helsing, me talking about boxing so much, and there's a parallel to me with boxing and acting, because I did a play. The first play I've ever done was with an amazing actress who has over 20 years in theater. I've never done anything. It's a 2-hand play, so it's two people for 90 minutes. I did this like 8 years ago, and I remember how nervous I got before the first show. I can hear the crowd, and they're hustling around. I'm like, this is the first time I've done a scene longer than 3 minutes in my life, and now I'm doing a 90-minute play.
Wow.
And I remember getting so nervous, and I was like, oh no, I know exactly what this feels like, exactly right before a fight. I had that nervous energy, that visceral feeling. And so I just started shadow boxing, breathing, relaxing, and then told myself, no one's going to punch me in the face out there. So just go ahead. So boxing helps out a lot.
Yeah, a laugh or anything worse that they could do still feels better than a punch to the face.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And so I draw comparisons quite a bit just to relax me, to stay present. The biggest thing is relaxing. Once you're relaxed in a scene, you get to have so much more creativity. The scope widens, and it's really helped me in my career.
Now, how young were you when you started boxing? Because the things that I've read, I mean, you were really good until you had the shoulder injury, right?
Well, yeah. Well, I grew up boxing. So my dad's a boxer, my grandfather, my uncle. I have 3 generations of boxers in the family. And so I've always known the technique of it. I've always known the mechanics, and that's what I love about it the most. It's the science. It's the way you angle to one side. I was never, when I boxed, I was never in the mindset of like hurting the other person. I was all about, when he throws that punch, I know how to get under it this way to connect this way.
You're a tactical boxer.
Yeah, very technical in that way. And to be my size, there weren't a lot of guys that were technical, like as lucky I was to be technical, because they were older and heavier in my division, so they usually had other sports. And I was just lucky that I had a great teacher with my dad, and I got to really learn the craft in that way. So for me, I had quite a bit of success. But there were guys that were lighter than me, that were super fast, way more technical. I was in a super heavyweight division where it wasn't as technical, so I was quite fortunate.
Now, you hurt your shoulder at the '99 Pan American Games. Did you expect to go pro? Were you thinking that was the path you were on?
Honestly, like, I started late. Like, I learned how to box very early, but I started competing late because
what age is late for boxing?
Oh, like I started competing like in my mid-20s to early 30s, and that's quite late. But I wasn't full force because I played in a band for a long time, and so that was the thing that I really enjoyed. I just loved telling stories, and I loved entertaining, and music was a huge part of my life. And then when I transitioned into acting, I found here's another venue that I can go in to tell stories. And it was so opposite from my size, and wanting to be almost like encouraged to go pro and to take it to the Olympic level. And I just felt I have such a huge respect for the sport that I couldn't do it half-assed. I needed to either give it 100% or don't do it at all. And I feel like that was a part of my injury, is that I didn't prep the way I wanted to prep. I wasn't as 100% involved mentally because I had other stuff going on. So I just gave it the respect that it deserved, and I train all the time. And any pro that I see or come across, I have so much respect for them. But yeah, my path was different.
At 25, if someone would have asked you at 25, what do you want to do with your life? What would you have said?
At 20, honestly, I want to pay rent.
That sounds familiar to a lot of 25-year-olds I've talked with.
Right. But again, I started late. Like when I really started to think about acting as okay, I need to be extremely serious about this. I was in my 30s, and so for me, and going to acting class and so many amazing acting schools in Vancouver, that the people that I was friends with were like 8 to 10 years younger than me, and were getting very early success in their careers, and I wasn't. I just was getting into it, and it was a thing of perseverance, of just going, you know what, I honestly believe viscerally that this is what my calling is, to tell these stories coming from this vessel. And it was frustrating. I was down and out a lot, but I kept at it with a great group of people around me, and mentors, and amazing teachers that had just started to kind of hit. And I just give a lot of that to just staying with it and just feeling like, this is what you were meant to do, and you just stick with it.
Yeah, when you're in your, low 30s, there's got to be people who are in their upper teens, low 20s in those classes, right?
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, I was grandpa in there.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, did you have any nicknames? Were they looking at you like, are you sure you want to do this? I mean, were people kind of giving you that look, or even asking you that of like, are you sure at this point?
Well, being 6'5", they wouldn't say anything.
Not to your face.
Right, not to my face. But I felt it, right? Like, I totally felt it, and I felt, I felt that some people were giving me the, like, this guy's going to give it a shot, whatever. And then there were other people going, good for you, man. Good for you, giving it a shot. And I gravitated towards a lot of the positive people and was challenged by the negative people. And I was really blessed that, I love that I worked hard to get here. That's the biggest thing. That's the thing that I'm really enjoying later on in my life, that, in this part of my career, that I'm really still having a great time. And I don't know how I would have reacted if I had early success and didn't really develop and have that understand failure. Do you know what I mean? There's some people out there that have succeeded without understanding failure, and it's rough when they're going to get it.
Oh, absolutely. And I was just having this conversation with someone literally, I think 2 or 3 days ago, saying that time in the present moves very slowly. Time in the past moves very fast. And so you looking at that and saying, in the present, that time must have been very slow. You go into a class and then you have to wait a couple more days or a week for another class. And it feels like, man, when am I going to get my break? And now you looking back 15, 20 years later and saying, man, look at the last 20 years, what I've done.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, man. It's such a beautiful place to be in. And for me to look back and go, like, I worked hard to get here. And thank God I had people that that connected with me and wanted me to succeed. And I think that's a testament to how I grew up, with the way my mom, I'm a huge mama's boy. And so my mom is a huge inspiration to me, and watching her work and just surrounding herself with good people is a testament to who you are as a person, as opposed to, always going like, I was lucky to have this person in my life. Well, you got to give testament to yourself, and that's who people wanted to be around too.
As a fighter in that competitive spirit, I mean, when you knew people were maybe doubting you, or people have doubted you in the past, does that trigger something in you of like, I'm going to prove you wrong? Now you just made me work twice as hard?
Well, I think that's just a natural thing that people do. It's like, you either fold and go, you're right, I'm going to go, dig a ditch for money. And not that there's anything wrong with hard labor, but it's never anyone's dream. And that thing of proving people wrong is just an innate thing that you want to do. But also, that wears off. Mm-hmm. So when you want to do something, in my eyes, if you want to do something, you're that passionate about it, nothing else is happening. You have blinders on. And that's what carries you through the persistence end of it. That's what carries you through when that anger or that revenge type thing you're full of, and that dissipates in your body. Do you still want to do it to the capacity that you were doing it to prove something wrong? That's the testament of true pursuit of what you love to do.
Yeah, persistence, dedication, absolutely, and you certainly had it. One of my favorite questions, and that I love talking with people, both on the show and outside of the show, is like, how did you afford to pursue your dream? What jobs did you do? What were you doing to be able to make money? I mean, when you're in your 20s and even your early 30s and you're trying to do these acting classes, those obviously cost money. You're trying to work around schedules. I mean, what were you doing to be able to support yourself during those times?
Well, I saved a little bit of money, not a lot. And I moved in with one of my good friends who lived in Vancouver, and he had a roommate. And it was a 2-bedroom apartment, and he was cool with me living there, but for me to pay rent, I had to clean the place, and they were like a couple of frat kids. So like with a dog that was super hairy, and so I washed the dishes, I did the laundry, I cleaned the floors. That was the rent that I paid, and I slept on a foam mattress about that thick, and that's all I had.
On the ground?
Pardon me?
On the ground, or did you actually have a bed?
No, on the ground. I just like a foam, just a piece of foam. Wasn't even a mattress. And I had a tube TV, a small tube TV, and I bought a VCR, which was $300 at some point, and it took me like 2 years to pay it off. So I had nothing, and so I was lucky to have friends that were going, look, man, I get it. You just stay here. And then I would teach boxing. I would, get people an acting class, and I would teach some boxing here and there. And one of my best friends right now, I met a little, probably about a year after moving here, and he owned a brand new sports supplement company that was just going to be opening it up in BC to sell the product here. And he gave me an opportunity to kind of sell the product. And when people don't know the product or don't know the person selling it, and I've never been in that situation before, they don't want it. So
it's a hard sell.
So for the first 3 years of me trying to make money selling that product, I lost money because no one really wanted it. No one wanted it. And so where I lost money was I had to rent a vehicle to go to these stores. I had to put out my own like flyers and let them see it. I just spent money going to all these stores across British Columbia and Canada, and I wasn't making anything. But my gut was telling me, and my new friendship with this guy, Shazad, was just telling me that there's a future here. I'm still with that company.
Really?
15 years later.
I hope the last 15 have been more profitable than the first 3.
Yeah, very, very much so. Very much so. And it's a testament to the friendship that I have with this guy, and it's a testament to me going, I get that I'm not making money right now, but there's something about it. And there was something about sticking with it for me. Same thing with acting and how it's come across on the other side. They're one of the top companies, not only in Canada, but in the world. And it's a privilege for me to be a part of that company. But again, it all ties into the dream that I wanted to do, which was tell stories and be an actor. And he gave me that opportunity where I didn't have to put, go to another job all the time. I did it over the internet, and it's gotten to be an income where I still get to meet the stores that I'm attached to and still get to do the things that I love to do.
Your first big break, do you remember what would you consider to be that one that you were like, I made it to a certain, oh, wow, I got this?
Oh, that's a great question. I don't know, man. Like, I think working with Anthony Hopkins was a big one. Just because here I am working with one of my heroes in this business. And you kind of sit there and you go, oh man, I just hope like I get a chance to just talk to him a little bit instead of just the scene. And he introduced himself to me, but I went completely the opposite way of playing it cool. I didn't want a fangirl, so I was like, just Alex, can I swear on here?
Yes.
Kind of, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I just kept on saying to myself, Alex, keep your shit together. Just keep it together. Don't fangirl. So all of a sudden, the ADs are going, Mr. Hopkins is coming in to do the scene. Alex, Mr. Hopkins will be right here. And the whole room just kind of shushed. And I remember just going, like, he's coming in this way. And I remember just going, just keep your shit together. Don't fangirl. You're a professional. And sure enough, I feel a tap on my shoulder. And he was like, hi, you're Alex, right? I'm Tony. We're doing a scene together. Nice to meet you. He shakes my hand, and I do this. What's up?
What?
And I realized you played it way too cool,
Way
Alex.
Too cool.
So right when I turned around, I literally caught myself. I went, "You idiot!" I went, oh, "Sorry, I'm just a really big fan." And then it just poured out. Then it just poured out, and I was like, "I just love you so much." And I went from one extreme to the other, and he laughed at it, which was hilarious. And then here's where it started to get really interesting. So he says, "Are you okay with a little bit of improv during the scene?" And I'm like, "Yes."
Not telling you no on anything.
Yeah, I would love to. So we improv the scene, and then he comes back and says, Alex, that was great. When you said that one thing, that was great because it made me bring up my gun over at this time. And I'm like, okay, but I said that because you said that other thing, so that'll help me. It goes, okay, I got it. And then he walks back to like rehearse it again, and I just kind of went, I'm in acting class with Anthony Hopkins, and we're jamming now. So we had this amazing synergy in our scene, and we go, and that alone makes me go, I think this is it. This is the pinnacle. Yep. So then now we're in our chairs talking to each other, and boxing came up because he used to box. So we just kind of hit it off, and then we shoot the scene. We go back talking, and then he says, Alex, give me your number. I want to keep in touch with you. And I'm like, absolutely. And it didn't even matter if he contacted me or not. My number is now in Anthony Hopkins' phone.
Yeah. Yep.
So I go, that's it. It's over. And I remember telling some friends, I get back to my hotel, take a shower, I'm getting ready for bed. And then Hopkins texts me. I went, I just got a text from Hopkins. This is great. So I think that was when I really kind of went, this is pretty cool. Because then the next day, and this is a cool thing, the next day we were talking about the scene, and I started telling him, like how did you prep for Silence of the Lambs? Like, what did you do different that all of us don't know? What did you do, and what aren't we doing? And he was so great. He goes, well, here's the difference. You're never going to get to anywhere that's up here if you keep on talking about yourself here.
Wow. Because
you put me on a pedestal that you'll never reach because you've put it there. I haven't. So you're always going to put something above you. And I was listening to him. He goes, I didn't do anything different than what we did yesterday in our scene. And the only difference is the movie was a great movie that hit a great time, and I had a great character. But I do that with all my characters. With this character, with other characters, it just happened to hit in a really lovely spot. But I didn't do anything different than what you're doing. So just keep doing what you're doing and don't put anything above you. And I was really emotional when he was talking to me about it. He was really gentle and kind. And those are the moments where you try to be present, and it's just another man talking to another man. And that was one of the biggest things I learned with Hopkins.
Wow, that's an incredible story. I'm still like almost stuck on the fact that he introduced himself as Tony.
Yeah, Tony. It's Tony.
It's Tony.
Who? Like, yeah, okay,
who's Tony?
I was, and I'm like, Sir Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll call you Tony.
Yeah. I'm sticking with Sir.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you think a lot of people in the industry have that mindset of like you had before and during your conversations there of thinking that it's some really big thing that they did or something that, that their path had that yours didn't have, and not realizing that they literally, it's the same thing. It's the same thing that we all go through. We're all going through the struggles. Do you think that's something that a lot of people just have to kind of realize and learn?
I definitely do. And I think there's constant reminders, and whatever your job is, there's constant reminders. For instance, I had a really great friend of mine who's still a great friend of mine, but you lose touch after high school. And it was like, I got a Facebook message going, hey man, I won't say the name, but it was, I'll make up a name. It was like, hey man, it's Frank. I don't know if you remember me, but I've been watching your show and I think you're really great in it. I'm like, Frank, we hung out all grade 8. Yeah, of course I remember you. You're one of my biggest childhood memories. Are you kidding me? But in his eyes, because I have a certain amount of success, I may have forgotten, which is like, I've done it before. I know a really great friend of mine who has amazing success right now. And I went through that after we lost touch in 10 years, and I saw him somewhere and he was like, Paunovic, hey, what's going on? I'm like, I was taken aback a little bit because he remembered me. I'm like, you're an idiot. Of course he's gonna remember you. So it's that thing of people have a certain amount of success that you don't think that they'll remember, but that's not the case at all. Like we're all working and moving forward, you know?
I listened to several interviews with you in the past, and you had a line, and I don't know if you remember this line, but you said you want hills and valleys, you want the scars so you know what you've lived for.
Yeah.
What is the meaning behind that in your eyes of having the scars so you know what you've lived for and you want the hills and the valleys?
Yeah, I just think, a beautifully paved road that you would drive for, 3 hours to get to the destination, be a nice, joyful ride. But to take 5 hours and go through the hills and valleys and maybe wipe out and then you finally get there and you're like, oh my God, we just went through all of that. And that's built me into a different level. Like scars tell a story of your life. It's like little chapters in your book. And I like the idea of going through something and persevering, not necessarily, like cliff jumping and that whole thing, and I get the adrenaline rush from all that, but I'm talking about, I'm going through something and there's the other side and I had fallen, got back up, kept moving. There's a roadblock here. I go around that. I would personally like to be in those situations that my body and my psyche and my energy remembers what it took to get there and gives it that much more tribute.
Can you think of a scar that was bigger than the metaphorical scar that is bigger than the others, or a bump in the road that you almost thought was going to take you down? It was so close.
This career, I mean, being an actor, the whole thing. Like, I mean, I went through some really lean times, questioning myself, questioning everything about myself. And is this, the reality of, should I get a real job or any of that stuff?
Was that when you weren't getting roles?
Yeah, I just wasn't getting booked. I would go out to auditions and I would feel I did a great job, but I wouldn't get it. And then you have that question mark of like, what am I doing wrong? And to go through those moments and not repeat it and going, okay, well, maybe it's not what I'm doing wrong. Maybe it's my energy I'm walking in at. So now reevaluating that. And I think the biggest thing is, finding things that you can improve on in yourself. There's always things to improve. There's never an easy skate. I want to keep on improving. If there's a mistake, I want somebody to tell me what the mistake is, so I try not to make it again, as opposed to not having my friends call me on my bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, call me on my bullshit. Let me hear it, because I'll hear it from you in a way that I won't be able to see it. So I think those type of scars, and especially in this industry, and coming out on the other side and still being joyful and full of love and full of life. I don't want to be on the other side of being jaded because of things that are happening now, or even maybe there won't be success. Maybe I won't work in 2019. That's a different story. And going, I'm still on the journey of what I want to do, and me being upset or angry at myself isn't going to carry me there. So I think that's the thing that I really kind of
absolutely. No, absolutely. It's a big picture. It's seeing everything as a grain of salt, and you're on the beach. What drives you in the times when it's difficult, or even just any day when it's going well? What drives you in life? If you're saying, man, this is what keeps me going in my pursuit of acting and my pursuit of things in life and other dreams, what is it?
Again, I'm gonna go to family and friends. That's the biggest thing. And when I see them persevere or do something great, I'm a big cheerleader. I love my friends succeeding, and that's a huge thing for me. I'm never on the other side of, like, somebody booking a role and me going, well, who cast that? Like, why didn't I go in? I don't like that. I don't like doing that. I champion people that have succeeded. What I love to do is going, so interesting, and he went for a 2-hour coaching for that role. That's great. I gotta get back to that.
Mm-hmm.
Or like my mom grew up as a very hard worker, and so I have to change because I get into some bouts of depression too. Like I have these moments where I'm almost like a deer in headlights where I don't know what to do, so I kind of sit around and then I'll put on the TV, not know what I'm watching, but I'm just stewing in my head. And I feel like the thing that you need to do is have people around, and workouts are a huge thing to get me out of that, and small and big goals, which is, something because I'm a huge boxing fan. Tyson Fury went through a massive bout of depression, and he just fought for the heavyweight title against Deontay Wilder, and that story really took to me because it was on Joe Rogan's podcast, and it really took to me because that's what happens. People get in their ups and downs, and you just got to find those right moments and that thing that brings you out, or that person that you trust that you're okay being open and vulnerable to, that will help you in that way, as opposed to hiding it. I'm not one to hide it at all. I need other people's energy. I don't think humans were meant to be alone, so I need that energy to kind of help me out, or at least kind of give me a nudge.
No, 100%. Yeah, and
yeah.
I appreciate you opening up about that, because I think, as you were kind of alluding to, everyone goes through this. I mean, everyone, when you're in that time, thinks, I'm the only one. Everyone else is having a great life. Everyone else is, living the high life. And that's not true, because everyone has experienced that. No matter how successful someone is, at some point they wanted to quit. At some point they were going through that bout and saying, man, is this really worth it?
And not only is this really worth it, that's when you go inside. I think, no one's really an island. And I think that's where you'd start going, am I good enough? Like, do I deserve this? You start putting all of this on yourself when, it's like, yeah, you do. You deserve all the happiness in the world, and however you get it. And when you start comparing yourself with other people, that's when it drags you down even more. So just what makes you happy, and there's other people around you that champion you too. So what makes you not champion yourself? And
Absolutely.
Then it's getting around those things and, just doing what you love. I remember a time where I was in my depressive state, and I have this amazing view in my house. And I remember not seeing it for a few days. Like, I would look out there, but I wouldn't see it until I realized I had a wicked day at work. I had some great friends with me. I did some amazing things that made me really fulfilled and happy that day. And when I came home, that view was completely different. It was the most beautiful thing I ever saw. And that doesn't have to change day to day because of what I do. It's the perception in my head and getting out of that mindset. And that's what always brings me back to when I do start feeling in a certain state. I start looking at that window and looking at my view and going, this needs to be enjoyed. I need to give this its tribute and get out and be active.
Absolutely.
Working out is a big thing for me to get out of that depressive state.
Yeah,
for sure.
Working out, for anyone who does it regularly, it's as much of a mental, release as it is a physical release, and being able to grow there.
Totally.
In 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, people look back on your career and your life. What's 2-3 things that you want them to look back and say, Aleks Paunovic, he was blank?
So amazing to work with. Taught me, shared a lot, made my days better, type thing. I love what I love about working so much, obviously I love the work, but 90% of that day, because we're shooting 15, 16 hours. And when we're saying we're shooting 15, 16 hours, it means that's how long that day is. We're actually probably getting, like any production, probably getting 30 minutes, if that, on camera.
Yep.
So 90% of the time is you're sharing space with other people as they're working hard at it, as you're working out scenes and the gaffer's moving stuff, the lighting tech's doing stuff. So are you a joy to be around? Is people want to be around you? Do you help people be more creative because they're more present and you're just making it joyful? That's what I want to give back. I want people to enjoy their work when they're around me.
That's amazing. And, just, again, hearing your story, hearing you talk about the highs and the lows and the good and bad, thank you. Thank you for being open. Thank you for coming on the show and just talking about the struggles that you face, the good times that you face. I mean, again, looking forward to 2019. I mean, it's amazing what you're going to be doing, and especially with, again, good things coming for Van Helsing, hopefully with season 4, and then with Cold Pursuit and Snowpiercer. I mean, congratulations on this year. Congratulations on next year.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate it, and it's you're good at your job, because I don't really open up like that. So
I'm telling you, when you come to LA, you're gonna hit me up. We're gonna go work out together. We're gonna share some 6'5" memories.
Love it. I love it. I'm in.
That's absolutely. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you, Aleks. If you guys want to follow Aleks after the show, at Aleks Paun, ALEKSPAUN on Twitter and on Instagram. You can follow me at The Only MC on Instagram and on Twitter. And certainly we are always here on Popcorn Talk Network at the Popcorn Talk. So many great shows and programs here on this channel. Comment, like, subscribe, tell a friend. That's what we're all about. We're all about spreading positivity in the world, being able to offer some inspiration, some motivation, and it's all free. That's the best part of all this. All we just ask, tell a friend. Go be a light in someone's life. Go spread some joy. Go spread some motivation and be an encouragement like the people in Alex's life, the people that have benefited me in my life. So appreciative for them. You guys, we're back with another episode next Monday. Every Monday we're live. We're almost done with season 4. And remember that advice for a better life. The best way to start 2019 off on the right foot, start right here, right now. Make some plans, make some goals. Until then, we'll see you next time.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network. The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals. The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the